Silverstone is one of the fastest tracks in F1 24. It does have a fair few slower corners, predominantly in the first half of the lap, with the second half of the lap being incredibly high speed. The turn 10 to 14 corner sequence of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel really tests your car's high speed performance, responsiveness and stability. The slower corners such as Vale and Luffield rely on greater traction and slow speed rotation. I think this is possibly one of the best tracks in this year's F1 game, as it provides such a variety of corner types and some great overtaking opportunities. In this track guide video, I'm going to break down a lap of Silverstone. I'm going to highlight the ideal braking zones, the racing line, and include some tips on how to improve your lap time. As with all of my track guide videos so far, I'm going to be using Track Titan to provide the throttle and brake overlays that you'll see in this video. If you haven't seen my track guides for tracks like Spain and Austria, go and check them out. And if you want to try out Track Titan, I've got a code for 50% off your first 3 months of Plus membership or unlimited laps for a month. The code is Sim Racing Setup, and I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of this video. Now, starting a lap of Silverstone, the first corner is incredibly fast. There's no need to brake. Instead, position your car on the left of the track. Just after the 100 meter board, start to turn in towards the apex. Position your car incredibly aggressively over the inside curb. The orange sausage curves aren't large enough to really affect your stability too much, so take as much curb as you can without cutting the corner. You can be full throttle all the way through the first and second corners, and after the turn 1 apex you can run your car right out wide to the left of the track, which lets you follow the curve of turn 2 into the next corner sequence. Turn 3 starts the slow infield section of a lap. It's a slow right-hander and is one of the slower corners at Silverstone. Aim your car at the outside left of the track on the approach and look for the start of the curb. Just as this curb disappears out of view on the left, start to brake and slowly turn in towards the apex at the same time. By the time you reach the 50 meter board, you should be positioned over the left curb and braking at 100%. At this point, trail off the brake pedal and start to turn more in towards the corner apex. The trick at turn 3 is not to apply too much steering input. Instead, open the corner and try to carry more speed into the apex than you think you'd be able to. Shift down to third gear, and at the apex, you should be completely off the brake pedal. Maintain smooth steering as you accelerate through the corner and open up your steering angle while accelerating towards the left of the circuit. As soon as you have traction, steer your car pretty aggressively towards the right of the track ahead of turn 4. Before you reach the right hand edge of the circuit, throw your car into the left hander. At the same time, as you start turning, lift off the throttle and apply a small amount of braking input. It's very easy to lock your inside left wheel here, so be a little bit gentle on the brake pedal. You really don't need too much force to slow your car down. Shift down to second gear before reaching the apex and roll your car through the corner. You can accelerate early while short shifting up to third gear. Try to open your steering to straighten your car before accelerating too hard. This is one of the trickiest parts of the track for traction. Use all of the outside curb to straighten your car and accelerate hard through turn 5. You can take as much inside curb as you need, and there is no need to lift. Hit the early DRS activation while straightening your car and continue accelerating down the long straight. As you approach turn 6, stay in the middle of the track to avoid a nasty bump on the right of the circuit. Then as you approach the 100 meter board, drift right to widen your approach. This is a really tricky corner to get right. Look for that 50 meter board, and as you pass it, dab the brake pedal and turn into the corner. You want to maintain 40 to 50% brake input as you slow your car, shifting down to 5th and then 4th gear. Turn 6 has a late apex which can be seen by the 2 orange sausage curves. Aim for these and try to clip them as you roll off the brake pedal and onto the throttle. You can be really aggressive here and accelerate through this corner towards turn 7. I like to use the start of the inside piece of grass as a reference of when to turn into 7. As it disappears off the right of the screen, lift off the throttle and turn in, aiming to hit that inside curb. You won't really need any brake input until you touch that curb, and then apply a small amount just to help rotate the car, shifting down to third gear. Your car will naturally run away from the curb, which is ideal, but ensure you don't run too wide, as you can actually lose a lot of lap time running offline. Pick up the throttle early as you continue through the corner and pull your car back in towards the inside curb once again as you approach the end of the corner. You can apply more and more throttle the further you progress around the turn. Straighten your steering as early as you can and use the left hand exit curb to really widen the track. Turn 8 is a full speed kink right ahead of the now infamous turn 9 of Cops. This is where Lewis and Max came together, and it isn't really an overtaking spot unless you have a great run out of Luffield. On the approach, position your car over the left-hand entry curb, right at the 50-metre brake marker, turn in towards the apex. In time trial, this corner is flat, but in a race you may need a slight lift. Use all of the inside curb, just avoiding the grass while accelerating at 100%. There is a lot of exit curb on the left, and you can use all of it to maintain a high minimum speed. During a race, really try to carry as much speed through here as possible, as this large curb and runoff area is a real safety net in case you overcook it. Now we have the incredibly fast S's, which are one of the most enjoyable parts of this lap. You can carry incredible speed through here, and turns 10 and 11 don't challenge your car as you can be full throttle. Start this sequence with your car just right of the centre of the track. Try to straight line turn 10 using a lot of the inside curb, but avoiding that red sausage curb. As soon as you're into turn 10, switch your focus to 11. Use really smooth steering inputs as you drive over the inside curb of 11. This time you can hit the larger sausage curbs without any real consequence. Try to follow the curve right ahead of turn 12. As you pass over the white track markings, start to turn left, and this is one of the first corners where you'll need to downshift, and in a race you may need a slight lift and even a small dab on the brakes. Once again, try to ride high up and over this curb, driving over those orange curbs to straighten your line and reduce your steering input. You can carry so much speed through this sequence, so really push yourself. Just before the left hand curb disappears, start to rotate your car into the slowest corner in this sequence, turn 13. As you throw your car right, dab the brakes slightly while lifting on the throttle and downshift to 6th gear on the approach. Try to turn earlier than you think to really focus on getting a good exit. Again, carry a lot of speed here while maintaining your throttle input at around 75% throughout this entire corner. There is a lot of room on the left for you to push the width of the track, but the important thing is to start accelerating at 100% throttle as early as you can, using as much of the track as needed. The DRS activation is right on the apex of turn 14, so hit that and accelerate towards Stowe. This is a really great overtaking opportunity, probably the best on the track, so really focus on maximising your exit out of Chapel. Turn 15, Stowe is incredibly fast and you can carry so much speed through it. You can take multiple lines through here, and you can even hang it around the outside if you're making an overtake. Use as much of the track width as possible on the entry and look for that 50-metre board. As you reach it, start to turn in before applying any brake. Just as you get off the outside curb, apply a small amount of brake input and shift down to 6th gear, and then roll off the brakes early and accelerate towards the apex. Try not to use much inside curb, if any, as stability is really crucial through here, but follow it through the curve of the corner while increasing your throttle input. Point your car towards the left-hand exit curb to really open up your steering and use as much of this as needed to maximise your speed. Then point your car to the right-hand side of the track ahead of turn 16. The final corner sequence is a slow one and it tests your rear traction. I tend to use the start of the right-hand curb as my braking reference. Hit the brakes hard as you reach it, braking in a straight line at 100% pressure. Use the outside curb as a guide, and just as it starts to end, trail off the brakes and turn in towards the apex. Shift right down to 3rd gear as you rotate your car through the corner. Avoid the inside sausage curb at all costs, but use as much of the black and white curb as you feel confident using. You can get on the throttle surprisingly early, just after the apex, to accelerate towards turn 17. Lift off the throttle slightly as you turn quickly right, again missing that large inside curb. You won't need any braking through this second part of the chicane, instead carry some speed and maintain some throttle input. Accelerate hard through turn 17 using all of the outside curb. You can short shift here if you're struggling for traction during a race. Try and accelerate at 100% throttle out of this corner and into turn 18. The final corner is a flat right-hander that really tests your accuracy. Once again, miss that larger inside curb, but use the flat curb as much as needed and accelerate hard towards the line to end the lap. Now, Silverstone is an incredibly enjoyable circuit that really tests your bravery and the ability to carry high minimum corner speed. You can carry a lot more speed than you initially think through most of the corners around this track. To help me improve my lap time, I used an analysis tool called Track Titan, which lets me analyse my lap, my brake, my throttle inputs, and even compare them against other drivers. If you want to try this tool out, I've got a 50% discount code which gives you a half price plus membership for 3 months. Or if you'd rather try Track Titan for free without committing, you can use the same code to get unlimited lap telemetry for 30 days. I'll leave a link in the description below along with my discount code, and that is Sim Racing Setup in uppercase. To help you put in the fastest lap times, you'll need a really good car setup, and a good British car setup is one that is relatively low downforce but promotes good rear stability. The rear of your car will be tested at various points throughout a lap as you apply the throttle early. I'll leave a card in the top of this corner and a link below to our recommended British car setup, so go ahead and check that out. But for now guys, I'm going to jump back into F1 24 and I'll see you all on track.